Let's bring in Mathilde Vu, who's in Nairobi. She's an advocacy manager for Sudan at the Norwegian Refugee Council. Welcome, Mathilde. I just want to start off, let's just clarify this, because there are a lot of disasters happening at the moment around the world, a lot of people suffering. But would you say this is definitely the biggest humanitarian disaster on the globe?
It is, and sadly, it's a record that is really sinister. It is the world's largest humanitarian crisis just because of the sheer number of people affected. It's more than 30 million people, for example, who are in need of humanitarian assistance. There's been just over this past 3 years, actually, like 1,000 days of of war or starvation, of bombing of civilian, etc. There's been at least 3 episodes of like mass atrocities. There's been famine confirmed at least 3 times now since the beginning of the war. It's quite unprecedented in terms of magnitude. And this is not only Sudan. This is really like also a regional crisis that expands from the Red Sea to the Sahel, with millions of Sudanese refugees trying to survive in some of the poorest countries right now of the world.
When we hear about the atrocities carried out, the reports of ethnic cleansing, the impression it gives is that neither of these warring sides, the RSF or the Sudanese army, care about their own people. Is either side doing anything to help the public during this civil war?
Frankly, this is really a war on civilians. If you look at the trajectory of the war, you'll see one thing that is really clear is that systematically international humanitarian law, which is the rule of war, have been violated. And there's been repeated attack on civilians, often deliberate, especially, for example, in North Darfur, in the attack of the RSF on El-Fasher, but also right now in the Kordofan. There's been attacks on civilian infrastructures. There's been attack on markets, on schools, on education. There's been people fleeing and being executed on the way, women raped, etc. Like, these were not people caught in crossfire. It's been very much abject violence against civilians.
We've seen with other conflicts, for example, the Ukraine war, lots of countries step in to try and help, certainly to alleviate some of the human suffering. Is anybody coming to the rescue for the people of Sudan?
I think you're pointing something very important. We opened and said that it's the largest humanitarian crisis in the world, that it is unprecedented in terms of magnitude, that it is unprecedented in terms of geography. And to be very frank with you, it's also unprecedented in terms of neglect, comparatively. The world leaders over this past 3 years have just simply not taken the measure of history, have just simply not, put enough political pressure on the warring parties and on their backers to make sure that, the basics are done in Sudan, which is protection of civilians and, the assistance reaching people. You can see it in the political attention, and you can also see it in the humanitarian funding, frankly. Last year, in December, 70% of what we needed in terms of money just simply didn't come. The international solidarity is not working on Sudan, I'm afraid.
Mathilde, thank you so much for taking the time to come and discuss this. Mathilde Vu from the Norwegian Refugee Council.